What's going on, guys? Sammy bringing you back in another video, and today is November 18th and I'm here at George Mason University, and today Madison Cawthorn will be coming here and that's what I'll be vlogging about. But other than that, I'm gonna head straight to the Catholic Patriot Chapel a little bit before I head to the hub, which is a building. I'll show you what it is after. But other than that, I'm just gonna head over to the chapel a little bit and then go into the hub after that. So I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Great to see you all here. You know, I think the Turning Point staff ran such a good job setting this event up, so thank you all so much. I apologize that we had to start a little bit early, but you know, unfortunately Nancy Pelosi does not like keeping a tight schedule. And so we were supposed to finish voting today around 3, but she didn't have enough votes to pass their Build Back Better agenda. And so it'll probably happen this evening around, who knows when. My chief of staff's been trying to figure out when they're planning, but you can never tell the mind of these socialists. But I just wanted to come here not really as a Republican or as a Democrat, but really just somebody who is, you know, your age in Washington, D.C. You know, I think that, you know, all of this crazy spending we see in Washington, all this crazy spending from whether it was the infrastructure bill, whether it's this Build Back Better bill we'll have tonight, you know, Nancy Pelosi is walking around with our generation's checkbook. And unfortunately, it's us and our children who are going to have to pay the deficit and the interest on the loan, on really the loans that she's taken from both the American people and from countries that hate us like China. Really, the problem that I see in Washington, D.C. is so many people that have gone up there, you know, most of them have been in Washington for longer than we have been alive. I serve with people all the time, you know, namely Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi, who have both literally been in office in Washington for longer than we've been alive. For myself, I'm 26 years old, so just imagine how much you've experienced in your life. Imagine how detached they are from what it is to be a normal American. What it's like to be around just normal Americans who go to Cracker Barrel, or who go to Waffle House, or just hang out with their family in their small towns where they're from. But unfortunately, we have this ruling class of elitists who I genuinely believe don't share any of our values. I really think that we have a uniparty in Washington, D.C. You know, since I've gotten here, I found out that really George Bush and Barack Obama are truly a part of the exact same party. Now, they might run on incredibly different policy platforms, but once they get into Washington, they just try to keep their friends in power. They try to send more money to special interest groups. They try to do what, you know, the backroom deals that they've always done. And unfortunately, that is a very pervasive and a very tempting thing that people have happen to them when they get to Washington, D.C. The biggest reason is because most people get elected as great patriots. And when I came into my freshman class, you know, I was determined to say, okay, I want to figure out, how do these people go from being freedom-loving patriots who love our Constitution to then being people who want to vote against our values, vote against our founding principles, vote against what really makes us all unified as Americans? And I found out the real problem is so many of these people decide, well, you know, I don't want to have to fly back and forth, so I'm just going to live in Washington, D.C. the entire time. And then first thing you know, first year, they're all really good and patriotic, but then, you know, they figure out, oh, wow, you know, if I was to get to this next echelon of power, then all of a sudden, I would be able to do so much more for my district. And then once they reach that, they then start saying, well, if I got to this next echelon of power and just made the moves I needed to make, then I'd be able to do so much more for the people that elected me. But next thing you know, 15, 20 years have gone by, they've been chasing that next echelon of power the entire time. And what have they ever done for us? They've just been trying to be self-serving, self-interested people who don't genuinely care about the American people. And so that's why I wanted to run for Congress. You know, I got married back in April, and when I proposed to my wife, you know, 4 days later, Mark Meadows, my congressman back in North Carolina, left to be the chief of staff in the White House. And you know, really, politics was not really huge in my wife's life, but when I found out about this, you know, obviously, anybody here who's in a serious relationship, I'm sure you've had the conversation, well, how many kids do you want to have, when do you want to have them, what kind of family do you want to raise? And when my wife and I started having this conversation, I started thinking, man, how ridiculous would it be to raise children in a culture that is so incredibly divided? Where, I mean, from, you know, I just think back 10 years ago to the world that we grew up in when we were all in high school or middle school, and think how radically the country has changed in that short amount of time. I can't imagine what children who are, you know, just playing middle school sports and they say, oh yeah, I'm going to, you know, Turning Point USA event, and then all of a sudden people start, you know, screaming at them on their own team, saying, oh, well, you're a Nazi, you hate the America, you're a fascist, and all these crazy things. And so I wanted to try and get involved inside of politics before I had children to try and actually save it. Because like I said, you know, our generation, I believe, has seen really, if anybody in here is born, you know, after 1995 like myself, you realize that we're part of Generation Z. And I think a lot of us are currently realizing that the people who grew up in the millennial generation, who really tried to buck any system of whether it's following God or following the tenets of the Bible or Judeo-Christian values, and then as they start going on, we're starting to see that this moralist and godless society is one that has left people joyless. It is one that has taken the passion that people have to be alive, the passion that really unites all of us as Americans to love freedom, to love self-government, to say, I don't want the government to be involved in my life. I want to make my own decisions and hold the pen of destiny myself. But unfortunately, I think we've seen the millennial generation just completely turn away from those founding principles. I mean, if you go through and read the Federalist Papers all throughout those, I call them the Freedom Papers. But if you read through the Federalist Papers, you'll realize that our founders had this incredible movement for us where they wanted to empower each and every single one of us to be able to make our own decisions. Because they had been under a tyrannical king who was trying to give them edicts from all the way across the ocean, spinning them into oblivion. And, believe this, when they increased taxes, I believe, what was it, 2% on tea, we all started a rebellion. I mean, imagine if our founders were alive today and they saw the taxation and the three-letter agencies that we are living under right now. I mean, they would say, this is not the America we envisioned at all. This is not what we need. And so that's why I wanted to get involved in politics so young, because I realized if we continue to sit around and elect these cookie-cutter politicians, once I get to around 50 or 55 and say, well, I might get involved in politics now. My friends, I genuinely believe we would not have a country left. And so I wanted to get involved so that I could not only go and fight for myself, fight for my own children, for my own family, and for my district, but also to pave the way to say, hey, you know what? You don't have to be 55 years old wearing pleated pants and tassel loafers to get elected to Congress. You can go to Washington, D.C., and you can make a difference. A lot of people say that, well, once you get to Washington, you have to play the Washington game, and you have to play by their rules. But I don't know if any of you have ever seen me on the House floor, but I really give Nancy Pelosi a hard time on the House floor. I really love to remind her that she's not God, and that she's just really just a menace, and everyone kind of laughs at her all around the country. But even despite that, being in the minority, being a firebrand congressman, being somebody who wants to lead the way for other passionate patriots to get elected, we've still passed almost more legislation than any other freshman congressman. There's probably about 10 or so that are ahead of us, but we're in the minority. So it's an incredible thing that when you have the back of the people, that when you stand up and when the woke mob wants to come after you and try and cancel you, and you say, no, I'm not going to back down. I will stand up to this tyrannical kind of vision that you have for America, where you're going to culture shame me into believing something that I don't personally hold as a tenet in my own heart. I have found that the American people have your back all the way. I mean, if you look at Donald Trump, you look at Conor McGregor, you look at all these people who are really outspoken, very aggressive, everybody loves them. Because I think the American people are so sick and tired of people who just try and pander to our feelings. They're so sick and tired of people who say, well, I don't want to rock the boat too much. I don't want to try and cause any divisiveness. I just want to everything go along smooth, go along to get along. Well, my friends, we are losing our country before our very eyes. If you lived all throughout 2020 and you see the fact that every single one of us having to sit masked inside this room, when our age group literally has a 99% survival rate throughout this pandemic, you realize that these people are just all about power. They don't actually have any values. They don't actually believe that they are here to represent the people or to defend the Constitution. They will do and say whatever they need to do to gain more power. I mean, I guarantee if every single one of us went to Washington, D.C. and said, hey, you know what, AOC, we're going to run your exact platform, we're going to be just like you. I guarantee you she'd be mad because she said, no, that's mine. I don't want other people to believe that. I want to have ownership of it because I want to live in a socialist society where really 99% of the civilization is all serfs, and then there's just this one immaculate 1% class that's living. I know I sound like Bernie Sanders right now, but I'm telling you, the elitists in Washington, D.C., these people who have decided that, hey, we're going to offshore all of our manufacturing, we're going to take all the jobs away from the American people. We are then going to convince an entire generation that the only way to succeed in life is to go get a 4-year degree education. We will then subsidize that education and make sure that you will have to be paying off student loans for your entire life, so that you are incapable of ever being able to buy a house. You'll be a generation of renters. We're going to put Planned Parenthood centers in every single community so we can have more fatherless homes. We can have subsidized fatherless homes. We can really try and decentivize the people, the family unit in America. And when you realize all the reason that they're doing this is to break up what molds us all together as Americans. I know being raised by an incredible patriotic family, not one that was ever politically involved. I grew up, just middle class. And when I was growing up, I remember we would always listen to Rush Limbaugh whenever we were on the way to church or whenever we were on the way to football practice, whatever it was. But my family would always sit around the dinner table and they would talk about politics. And then when I got old enough and started going around to spend the night at my friend's house, and then, I realized that we really weren't talking about anything substantive at the dinner table. I was like, wow, you guys have no idea what's going on in the country. How are you guys expect to actually be able to fix what's going on? And it created this fire inside of me because I realized that so many people in our generation would believe in, very culturally conservative, pseudo-libertarian values if they were just exposed to it. But unfortunately, with the indoctrination camps that our public education system has become, so many people have never even heard of the idea of self-government. Have they ever heard of, let's go study the Federalist Papers. I don't even call them public schools anymore. I call them government schools. Because I have found so much, and you're seeing now that when parents want to go have a voice at their public school, to go to their school board meetings, what do they call them? They call them domestic terrorists. This is absolutely un-American. It's absolutely trying to break up the family unit, and it's trying to destroy what's made America great for so long. But anyways, I will tell you, getting to be the first person from our generation to be in Washington, D.C., I can tell you the establishment has no idea what's coming for them. Because when I started getting reinforcements from more people from Gen Z, more people standing up to go say, hey, you know what? I can serve. I don't have to abide by the system. I don't have to just be a go-along, get along Republican. I can go be somebody that represents my district, represents my people, and fight for the good and welfare of all of America. Well, my friends, I think we're going to radically change our country. But you know what? We all in this room believe that we will radically change our country, get it back to those founding values, those founding principles. And it's not going to cost us anything personally. Well, then I believe we're fooling ourselves. I genuinely believe that we are going to have a lot of instances where we will see that we have either had to lose friends, we've had to be majorly inconvenienced. I mean, if I go to a restaurant and they ask for a vaccine passport, we were literally in New York and I just dropped the pizza and just left because I had zero desire to be a part of that system. But I think we all need to be resolved, and we're going to go through some hard times. I think this next decade is going to be very trying on our social life, very trying on, just kind of the comfortable, cushy lives we've become accustomed to as Americans. But I believe it's worth it. I believe we all become resolved to change this country for the betterment of the world, for the betterment of the American people, for the betterment of the next generation. Then, my friends, I think we'll see an American Renaissance like we've never seen before. But anyways, I do want to open up the floor to questions, because I know if you wanted to hear a politician speak, you just turn C-SPAN on or Fox News or CNN. So I'll let the secretary figure that out. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for letting me come out and speak to you. I am very excited about it. So they'll have a microphone set up. And then I do encourage you, please don't give a speech with a question mark at the end. I want to be able to get to as many questions as we can. So if you just give me your question, I'd love to be able to answer it. So anyways, I will let you guys take it away.
What is up, guys? I had a wonderful time seeing Madison Cawthorn, and I thought the event was pretty good. But other than that, I'm about to leave here to enjoy my Thanksgiving break, because today's Thursday and I don't think I'm gonna make it on Monday, Tuesday of, well, I should say this coming week, due to Thanksgiving and stuff. But other than that, George Mason, I will see you on, I should say, 2 weeks from now. Other than that, like I said, the Madison Cawthorn event was pretty good. Got to meet him. Got to get a picture with him that you'll see on my Instagram. So other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now see you guys in the next one. So peace.